With the holidays rapidly approaching, this video will recommend a couple of gift ideas that would be perfect for the retro gamer. First up are the Flashbacks from atgames.com. They've refreshed their Atari Flashback line to the Flashback 8s. They've added a new portable, and they've added a couple of new Sega Genesis products. Next up is Tiny Arcade licensed retro games. These little miniature arcade cabinets came out recently, and right now ThinkGeek.com has them for $19.99. They have 3 of them. I believe there's 4 of them that are out. They make great stocking stuffers. If you're in the mood for something a little bit better, there's a Kickstarter that just recently completed that has a similar idea for Tiny Arcade retro games, but they're a little more pricey. Next up, the Pac-Man Plug and Play by Bandai America. This thing is $20 and you can find it at various retailers. Next up, the Atariage Store. They've recently added a ton of new inventory, including games for the Atari 2600, 5200, and 7800. I highly recommend Super Cobra Arcade for the Atari 2600. It's a really nice port. Next up is the Intellivision Revolution Store. They've also refreshed their product line this year. In the last couple months they released 4 or 5 games at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. And I recommend Junior Pac-Man. And speaking of Intellivision, next up are the Intellivision Flashback adapters, which are done by Paul Nurminen. What these are, they let you use your Flashback controllers on your original Intellivision. Next up is the CollectorVision website. They have a ton of video games for different systems, including the ColecoVision, Atari, Intellivision, and the NES and Super NES. So check them out. Next up is the Super Nintendo Classic Edition by Nintendo. Right now this is a hot commodity and it's really hard to get your hands on one of these. They're running $79. ThinkGeek is allowing you to enter your email address and they'll contact you for a chance to buy one of these products because they sell out so rapidly. They're letting you do this for about the next week. I think it ends on December 8th. Next up is the Dreamdear Gamer 5 portable handheld system with 220 built-in games. These little devices are available at various retail outlets including Target. So they're about $19.99 right now. They're a neat little device. I think the little ones would appreciate it. Next up, check out the selection over at rgcd.co.uk for the Commodore 64. There's quite a few different titles available, and they're all really good. Next up, check out Galencia over on galencia.itch.io/Galencia. This is a kind of like a Galaga clone, but it's not really Galaga, but it plays like it, so it's a really cool game. And it's now available for disc, cartridge, tape, and I believe you can just buy the ROM for $4.99. Next up is the Atari Vault on Steam, which is a collection of 100 Atari classics, and right now it's only $9.99 on Steam. Next up is Loadrunner Legacy over on Steam. Right now it's running $19.99, but hold out for sales. I got it for $9.99. Next up is the Angry Video Game The Movie. This looks like it might be a fun little movie to rent. It's only $2.99 and it also stars Andre the Black Comedian. And while on the topic of movies, 8-Bit Generation has the Commodore Wars for sale for $15, which looks like it'll be a good movie. And they're also renting easy to learn, hard to master, The Fate of the Atari. You can rent that over on iTunes or Amazon. Next up, while this isn't retro gaming related, it is retro. There is a documentary on Netflix right now which is covering these high school kids that remade Raiders of the Lost Ark shot for shot. And they recently completed the movie. It took 30 years before them to finish the last few scenes, and you can pick up their finished movie over at their website at theraiderguys.com. So check it out. Next up, over at Retro Fusion Books, they're having their Black Friday sale. It looks like they're still on sale. You can pick up a bunch of PDFs or the actual hardbacks or paperbacks at a discounted price right now. They have high quality books, I can attest to that, and I have reviewed a couple of them on this channel. Next up, if you're interested in Commodore 64 programming, Derek Morris, a 20-year industry veteran, is coming out with his new book. Retro Game Dev C64 Edition. It's going to be available over on Amazon.com, and hopefully it releases in time for the holidays. You should check that out. I'll be looking for it as well. Next up is the book that I just reviewed, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels by Jason Schreier, and it is on Amazon.com for $9.59 right now, and it's a great little read about how video games are made and all the trials and tribulations that go into creating a video game. And finally is the Art of Atari poster collection. This is a terrific little book, and right now it's on sale at Amazon for only $15.29, and I highly recommend picking up this book. Tons of great artwork and a lot of history in it. So that concludes this video, and I hope you guys have a happy holidays and a Merry Christmas.